Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry that it's taking me this long to upload this video. I have some footage from the hospital and not as much as I wanted to because it went way different than I was expecting it to. So I didn't film as much as I wanted to, but there is some footage from the hospital that I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to put it all in order and everything like that. Actually, the footage starts from the day I had my doctor's appointment to find out when I was going to be induced. And then from there, it goes into the hospital up until the day she was born. After I play my vlogs from the hospital, I'm going to do a little recap and kind of summarize everything that happened because I don't think it's 100% clear in the videos of what exactly happened, the series of events, and how long I was there, stuff like that. So yeah, enjoy. I'll see you in a minute. All right, hey guys, good morning. I got 3 hours of sleep last night. I am exhausted and grumpy, but I am on my way to my doctor's appointment to find out when I'm going to be induced. So even though I'm grumpy and exhausted, I'm also excited. I had a dream that she was here last night. Well, I guess during my nap. So I'm gonna go to my appointment and I'm gonna find out and I will update you guys after we're done. All right, bye. So I had my doctor's appointment this morning and I got there and my blood pressure was a little elevated. So they wanted to induce me tomorrow and I said, that's not gonna work. Can we do it on Monday? They said, yeah, we guess we can do that. And then they checked my blood pressure again to see if it had went down, and it didn't. So the doctor came back in and she said, I'm actually gonna need you to go to the hospital today and have some blood work done, and if you can, stay there and be induced tonight. So I'm currently in the parking lot at the hospital. More than likely, Danny will be here tomorrow or later on tonight, but it's already 3 o'clock, so I'm sure she'll be here tomorrow, which is just crazy. I'm still in shock. I did go home against the doctor's orders. She wanted me to go straight to the hospital. My blood pressure was 148 over 92, I think, 148 over 92, and then when they checked it again, it was 130 over 90. And then they checked it a third time, and I don't even remember the number. They checked it a third time because I really did not want to go to the hospital today and have a baby today. I was not mentally prepared for her to be here. There was still like certain nesting things that I had that I wanted to get done, but luckily all of my support people and everything were able to accommodate this crazy situation. So my mom's on her way here to meet me right now. Then we're gonna go into the hospital together and have this baby. So wild. I will keep you guys posted. All right, bye. So I'm here. They already admitted me. I didn't have to wait or anything like that. They just admitted me right away because of the high blood pressure. So looks like I'm getting induced after all. I can't believe this is happening. I'll show you the room. My beautiful view of Modesto. I got a little vanity over there, the bathroom. It's pretty big. The baby's gonna go right there. And then that's a pull out for my mom. And yeah, fun stuff. Hey guys, so they put in some Cervidol at like 9:30. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. So hopefully this will get things going. I just got in trouble for eating sushi, so yay. All right, bye. It's 9:40 in the morning. I had no labor progress so far. I am just finishing eating breakfast, and then I'm going to take a shower, and then I'm gonna go for a walk, and then they're gonna start me on Siladol every 4 hours, and hopefully that'll get things moving. I'm not dilated at all, not even a little bit, so it's gonna be a long process. So yeah, it's been 12 hours, and excuse me, nothing's happened. I've had like small contractions here and there, but nothing consistent. So yeah, that's what's going on. My mom just went home to go shower and stuff like that, so that's where we're at. All right, bye. It is 1 o'clock. At 11:30, they put in the Silotech, and nothing's happened so far. I think my body kind of has to get used to the medicine. Yeah, so they're gonna do that every 4 hours, and hopefully labor will start. Fingers crossed this works, because I've already been here a day and we've made zero progress. So my baby's being stubborn. All right, I will keep you guys posted. Bye. Okay, it is about 8 o'clock on April 18th. And we finally made some progress. I am 1 centimeter dilated and contracting like crazy. So I've had 2 doses of Cytotel, 25 milligrams, and every 4 hours. They were going to give me my 3rd dose, but because I'm contracting so much, they might not be able to give it to me. So they're gonna wait and see if my contractions slow down a little bit, then they'll give it to me again. But if not, I don't really know what happens. I think they just keep it, like going naturally or something. I don't know, maybe Pitocin or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, yay, progress. Okay, bye. Let's see. Having some pretty big ones. I know they're gonna get bigger. It's just the beginning, but yeah, there's a cute little board. So that's where I am. That's where I need to be. Hey guys, it is 9:12 in the morning on April 19th, day 3. They're gonna check me at 11 and see if I'm dilated anymore. I'm starting to get really frustrated because I feel like this is taking so long and I'm not making any progress. I was 1 centimeter last night, around 8, like I said in my last video, but they haven't checked me since, so I'm hoping that I'm dilated more. I've been having contractions through the night. I was able to sleep really well. I just ate breakfast. They've still been letting me eat since I'm not in like active labor or on any like pain management or anything like that. Contractions have been pretty steady. Yeah, I'm just getting grumpy at this point. I think I'm gonna take a shower after they come in and check my blood sugar, and maybe go for another walk. because my walk last night seems to help get things rolling a little bit. So yeah, that's what's going on. Nothing too exciting. I wanted to like vlog this whole experience, but I feel like I just have nothing new to vlog, so hopefully today will be a little bit more action packed. All right, bye. Hey guys, baby girl is finally here. We are still in the hospital. It is April 23rd, 2020. It has been a crazy couple of days and I haven't really had a chance to vlog everything that happened. So I think I'm going to do that when I get home. I'll do a sit down proper recap of everything that went down. Originally, I was going to vlog the whole time, but things did not go as planned. It's been a very interesting labor and delivery process for us. So, but here's my little squish. All right, I will keep you guys updated. Bye. So, a couple of the things that you don't see at the beginning in the vlog is that I was seeing a doctor that I had never seen before my pregnancy. She didn't know anything about my numbers. She didn't know any of my history because I forgot my little white card, and I don't know if she even looked up like the history of my blood pressure and stuff like that. I wasn't too fond of this doctor. It's okay. Like, you're not going to get along with every single healthcare professional. There's a lot of people that in life that you're not going to get along with, and me and this doctor, we just did not connect, and she didn't listen to me or anything like that. My blood pressure was slightly elevated, so it wasn't extremely elevated at all. It wasn't, I mean, it was considered high, but it wasn't like deathly high or anything like that. And she wasn't listening to me. I told her that it was very possible that my blood pressure was raised because I had anxiety about finding out when I was going to be induced. I had anxiety about a lot of things, my living situation, money, the coronavirus quarantine. Like, here I am a week out from having a baby and I have all of these things going on. So of course my blood pressure is going to be a little elevated. I was on a super strict diet. I was doing really well on that. And I wanted to be induced on Monday, the following Monday. So I felt like my body wasn't ready. I didn't really feel like I was in labor. I remember, I think that I had like a couple of random contractions, but I mean, that can happen like weeks before active labor. I knew my body was not ready to have this baby, and I didn't want to be induced. My whole pregnancy, I had this idea that if I did everything right, then I wouldn't need to be induced, because that's just how I am. I'm a pretty like natural person. Anyways, she wanted me to go to the hospital right away. I fought her on it. They checked my blood pressure a million times. It was still slightly elevated. So they made me go to the hospital. Whatever. I started to get excited about the thought of having my baby, so I kind of pushed my anger aside and I went to the hospital. I did come home, and I live about 30 minutes away from where Danny Ray was born. And I came home, I took a shower, I got some things in order. My mom, my sister, and my best friend were coming to stay at my house, so I wanted to make sure that they had like comfortable living situations for when they got here. I had to let my dogs go to the restroom and lock them up. Well, one of my dogs is crazy and she's crate trained, so I had to put her in her crate. And then I went to the hospital where my mom and my little sister met me. Because of their coronavirus, I'm only allowed one support person in the hospital with me, and I chose my mom. I don't know what I would have done without my mom. Like, no question, like, she was the best support person to have in there. And so my mom came with me. We had to go through a single entrance of the ER. We had to wear masks. We checked in, and they were gonna put me in triage, but the order that I had from the doctor was just to be admitted immediately and be induced immediately. So I told the nurse that because she was taking me to triage to check my vitals. My mom actually had to wait outside. She wasn't allowed to go into triage with me. She wasn't allowed to actually come into the hospital with me until I was admitted and had my own room. Luckily, that didn't take long because it was an emergency situation. I got admitted right away. I told the nurse, I was like, oh yeah, I'm not even supposed to go through triage. They did all of this. I just left the doctor's office. They want me to be induced now. And she's like, oh, okay. I got into my room and they did some blood work and they checked my vitals and they hooked me up to all those fun machines that I don't ever want to be hooked up to again. They're so annoying. I got to the hospital around 3 or 4 o'clock, I think, is when I was in my room, admitted in my room. My mom was allowed to leave and come back as she pleased, but she was not interchangeable with any other support person. So you pick your one support person and then that's it. She can't like switch out with my little sister or, you know, whatever. They started me on the medicine. I literally, in my vlogs, I'm sure you've seen, I called this medicine like 3 different names because I kept forgetting the name of it. I think it's Cytidol, something like that. Anyways, it's a pill and they either put it inside of you or you take it orally. And they started me on a very low dose to get me induced. And they started me, I think they started me that night, and I wasn't making any progress. So the next morning I woke up, I took a shower, and they started putting it in me more regularly. I went on some walks and nothing was really happening. I had a few contractions here and there. Nothing was regularly happening. And this is when I started to get a little panicky, like, okay, when is this really gonna happen? Because I had done my research so much on induced labors and all labors and watched so many vlogs and videos. So I was expecting to have her within a day or 2 of being there. Okay, so here's the thing. Every time there was a shift change, there was a different doctor, there was a different nurse, right? So every single day, sometimes twice a day, there would be a change in my person who was caring for me. And of course, which is like normal, right? But the thing that was frustrating was that none of my information was being transferred like correctly from person to person. So like a new person would come on shift and they'd be like, okay, what's going on? And like one doctor would have me on a plan. He'd be like, okay, we're gonna put this in you every hour, this hour, and then tomorrow we'll do Pitocin, and then we'll do this, we'll do that. Well, then every time a new doctor came on, they would switch the plan. So my body was going through all kinds of crazy stuff. Like they put me on Pitocin. The Pitocin was working. I had crazy contractions, like so painful. Like the Pitocin put me in labor. But then they took me off the Pitocin, and then they did the peanut ball, and then they put the pill back inside me, and then, you know, and then they just kept changing everything, and my body, like the pill wasn't really doing anything. I know that was supposed to help soften the cervix, right? So they put something in me to help soften the cervix, and that would help me dilate through the contractions. Well, the Pitocin is what made my contractions go like crazy. So the Pitocin was making my contractions go like crazy. Contractions are what make you dilated, and then you can have a baby at 10 centimeters dilated, right? Also, every time I was checked to see if I was dilated, different nurses would have different answers. Someone would say, oh, she's 4 centimeters dilated. Oh, she's 5 centimeters dilated. I never got past an answer of 5 centimeters dilated. I did not want to have a C-section. C-sections, if I fear anything in life, it was C-sections. That was like my #1 fear in life. I don't know why the thought of them scared me throughout my whole pregnancy. I always said, I don't know how women who have had C-sections do it. I think that is some crazy, badass, like insane stuff. I've never had surgery on anything either. the thought of surgery terrified me. So I never wanted a C-section. So they let my labor just, I'm just throwing it out there, that's gonna come in later. So I was going through labor really slow. The hospital on a Friday, we left the following Thursday, me and baby. So I was almost in the hospital for a week. That's insane. That is insane for labor. Most of the time you're there for 2 to 3 days. Most of the time when you're induced, you're there for like 3 to 4 days max. Okay? I was almost there for a freaking week. I was like less than a day away from being there a week. I was like a couple of hours. Okay? That's nuts. Like 12 hours away from me being there for a full week. So if I was hooked up to blood pressure machines, my blood sugar was being checked all the time. I was not having a good time. I also wanted to wait as long as I could before I got the epidural. Once I hit that 4 to 5 centimeter mark, I couldn't really take the pain anymore, and I couldn't sleep because I was getting poked and prodded so often. It was hard for me to sleep on top of the pain. So they finally talked me into getting the epidural. I was being stubborn. My mom and my nurse, I had some amazing nurses while I was in there, don't get me wrong. Like, as much as I was frustrated with the way that things went and how long I was there, I had some amazing nurses. They were just like, look, you don't need to put yourself through any more pain than you're already in. Since I already knew that I was eventually gonna get the epidural, they were like, your body just needs to relax, and maybe if you just relaxed, then you can dilate more. So I got the epidural. I was terrified of getting the epidural. My mom couldn't be in the room with me when I got it. That's also another thing that I fear in life is the epidural, because it's an IV that goes into your back, as we all know. It was scary getting it. The anesthesiologist came in, he was really nice, and it was just me and my nurse. Thank God I had, like, she was my favorite nurse the whole time I was there. I don't remember her name. I think it was like Wendy. And she was just such a sweetheart. It was like Wendy or Mary or something like that. She was such a sweetheart. She helped me through the roughest part of me being there in the hospital besides recovery. And so I just like leaned over on her and she talked me through everything. She was like petting my head, telling me it was gonna be okay. And it ended up being okay. So I got the epidural. I was not comfortable. I had an epidural, I had a catheter, I had the thing that they put inside of you, the labor medicine that they put inside you has like a string attached to it. So I had that. They also had to put this little tiny thing. So they put this thing inside of you. So they weren't getting a solid reading on like the blood pressure, the baby's blood pressure, the baby's heart rate, stuff like that through the bands that go on your belly. So they had to put something inside of me. So they put, I don't know the name of it, but it's this little device and it goes inside of you, and it's a very tiny screw that screws onto the baby's head, and then they get a clear reading of the baby's vitals. Anyways, so I had that, I had a catheter, I had the epidural. Like, I was just hooked up to so many different machines for days. On top of that, on top of all of those machines, I also had the peanut ball. So the peanut ball is this huge like ball that they, like, you're laying in bed, right? And they put it in between your legs and they make your legs go above one, and then they come in like every hour or every couple hours, and they shift you and they make you go on the other side, and then they make you go on the other side and then the other side. That's supposed to help get the baby moving in like a more holistic way. So I had that. I feel like this story time is like all over the place, you guys. I'm trying to make it as chronological as possible. I'm sorry, but so this is what's happening. I have all of those machines on me. I have the peanut ball on me. I'm switching back and forth. They're switching from Pitocin to that other medicine that I always mess up the name of. Then it gets down to the day that she is born. I have a team of 2 nurses. One of them was being trained, and I hear them kind of talking about me possibly needing a C-section. I don't like when people talk about me as if I'm not in the room. That's one thing that really bothers me and I'm really sensitive to. And they were talking to each other and not talking directly to me. That bothers me. I was emotional. I was tired. I felt disgusting. I had been there for days at this point. And I told my mom, I don't want to have a C-section. They're talking about me having a C-section. They're not directing it at me. I don't appreciate that whatsoever, you know, and I was just like really upset. I had a new doctor. This new doctor was not, she came in and she sat on the bed and she was like, look, she was like, you can have a C-section right now and, you know, we could just get this over with. And I was like, I don't want to have a C-section. I do not want to have a C-section. I want to have my child naturally. That's something I've always wanted to experience. I have been here for days. I just want that, you know, like that's, I've been here for this long. I've carried this baby for 9 months. Like, just give me that. And she was like, okay. She was like, we'll try to get her out, you know, but it might get to a point where we have to have a C-section. And I said, like, in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, of course, if it comes to like compromising mine or Danny Ray's health, then of course I'm gonna have a C-section, right? So it got to that point. The following, no, not the following. So this is the same day. So that same day, my blood pressure actually did start going up. I got a fever. And my fever was staying pretty consistent. They weren't breaking it. And this was actually the day before. I'm sorry. This was the day before she was born. The night before she was born. I started getting a pretty good fever, consistent fever. My blood pressure started going up. And then my baby's blood pressure started being affected. And you could see it on the monitors. Every time I would have a contraction, her blood pressure would go up super high. And then it would drop super low, which is not, and then, you know, after my contraction would end, which is not good for her at all whatsoever. That is super compromising her health. So that same doctor that had the talk with me on the foot of my bed came back in and she was like, I highly advise that you have a C-section. Your baby's blood pressure is going up and down and it's not good. On top of your fever and your blood pressure, we don't want anything to happen to you or the baby. And my mom too. My mom was fighting for me to have a C-section like 2 days before this. She was done. She was like, let's get out of here. Just have your baby. What's wrong with you? But I am really stubborn. I was really emotional and I was just like, fine, let's just have the C-section. But I'm terrified. I was terrified. They said, okay, give us about an hour. They started unhooking me. My epidural had actually fallen out. I don't know when, but because I was starting to feel my contractions again, and I was like, I think I need more medicine. Like, I can feel my contractions. The anesthesiologist came in and he's like, oh, your epidural actually fell out. And I was like, okay, weird, because I've just been laying in this bed the whole time, but okay. And so I didn't have the epidural for the C-section. Some women do the epidural versus the spinal tap, which is what I got. I'm really happy that I got the spinal tap because with the epidural, I feel like I might have been able to feel some stuff. With the spinal tap, I didn't feel anything. It was great. So what happened was they told me that, you know, I really wanted skin-to-skin contact immediately after the baby was born. They told me that once I got wheeled into the recovery room, the baby would be in there with me. We could do skin-to-skin. I could feed her, stuff like that. But that once the baby was born, my mom would hold her in the hallway, and then I would get wheeled into recovery. So yeah, I went into the room where the surgery happens. It was literally just right down the hall from my room, and they started prepping me. It did not take long. I was maybe in there, I don't even think I was in there for a full hour. Like, from the time they started prepping me until the time I was in the recovery room was probably an hour. But from the time that they started prepping me, from the time that the baby was born, it was like maybe 45 minutes, maybe. I got in there, little tiny table. I'm a big girl. It was like this little tiny table. And the anesthesiologist was amazing. Oh my God, he was so great. He was so nice. and he was just walking me through everything. He could tell that I was nervous because I was like, my body was like shaking. Like I was terrified. Like it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. I felt like I was about to jump off a cliff, like with no parachute, like just free falling. Like that's what it felt like. I get in there, they're walking me through it. He does the spinal tap, which is a couple of injections. He was like, okay, lay down, and like I had to put my arms flat, and I did, and they put this sheet up. Next thing I know, my mom's in the room and they're going at it, and I couldn't feel anything. I had to wear a mask the whole time, which was frustrating, to say the least. And my mom had to wear like the shield and stuff like that. But the anesthesiologist was like, they already started. And I was like, what? I didn't even feel anything. And then next thing I know, he's like, your baby's here. And I hear her cry. And it was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Yeah, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Her cry was like the most beautiful thing I ever heard. But like I told my mom that. She was like, that is the cutest thing. Like I looked at my mom and I was like, that is the cutest cry I've ever heard. And then the doctor was laughing and stuff. So yeah, it was really nice though. And my mom was there and it was great. She did a great job. She ran over and took a picture of the baby while they were weighing her, and then she like brought it back to me to show me right away so I could see what she looked like. And one thing I forgot to mention was that her head was actually stuck, which is why my labor wasn't making any progress. So she was born with kind of a cone-shaped head, which is, you know, babies are born with weird heads. That's why they wear hats and bows and stuff. But her head's normal now. So my mom took a picture of her, brought it over to me, and then they cleaned the baby up, and then they brought the baby over to me so I could see her. And it was weird because I feel like I had already met her. Like, I've said that so many times, and I don't know, like, that probably sounds weird to a lot of people, but like to me, like, she looked exactly how I imagined she would look, and better. Like, of course she was even more beautiful because I was actually meeting her, but it was like I just knew who she was. Like, I looked at her and I was like, oh, that's my baby, you know, like that's who I already knew who she was to me, if that makes sense. It was like I was meeting her again. I don't know. So yeah, so then I went into the recovery room. They gave me some pain medicine, and you know, they kept asking me if I need more, if I need more, if I need more. Once I stopped asking them for pain medicine, they were able to get me up into my room in recovery. The baby was born at 9:49, so almost 10 o'clock at night. And we got up to recovery around midnight, 12:30, something like that. They didn't have any single rooms available, so they put me in a double, but I did not have a roommate the whole time I was there. My mom had like a little bed to sleep in, but I told her, you know, the baby's here now, so if you want to go home tomorrow, like if you want to sleep at home tomorrow, then you can, and then just come back and hang out with us, you know, during the daytime. So, and she did, which I didn't mind at all because I wanted to bond with the baby anyways, and there was really just no point in my mom sitting there and being miserable when I really, really needed her through my labor. And she was my rock. So thanks, Mom. We got up there, they took the baby. What did they do with the baby? They just kind of like got her ready and like got her little bassinet and stuff. Like, she wasn't gone long, it was just a couple minutes, and then they brought her back to me, and I just stayed up all night, like just staring at her. Like, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, the most beautiful experience ever. I was breastfeeding didn't work out. I'll make a whole nother video about that. And then the next morning I woke up and realized how much pain I was in. And it was a lot. The pain medicine wasn't working. I could hardly walk. I cried. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sit up. I was miserable. And by the last day that I was there, they finally got me on a good pain regimen. And then when I was getting ready to leave, there was a new doctor, and she didn't know anything about me, and she wasn't gonna allow me to leave with my pain management that the doctor, my doctor that I had been seeing the whole time, had me on. So that was kind of an ordeal. Other than that, my experience was pretty solid, other than being at the hospital for a freaking week. The staff was pretty nice. I had one nurse for most of the time that I was up in recovery, and she was hilarious. She was like, you need to drink your water, you need to drink your water. Like, she was strict, but she was like, I appreciate it, because she was kind of like on top of me. Like, she wanted me to go home. She wanted me to be able to go home with the baby. So, and she really listened to me when it came to my pain levels, where I was like, her name was Epi, and I was like, I can't like function. She's like, I really want you to walk today. Like, I want you to be able to walk down the hall. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, we would try, and I would just instantly start like bawling because I couldn't even make it out of the hospital room. That's how much pain I was in. Another weird thing that happened was they actually, like, when me and the baby were leaving that day, you know, like in all the movies and stuff, there's like a wheelchair and they like wheel you out. They didn't. They had me walk out. I was in so much pain, you guys. And then we came home, and I was still in a lot of pain. And then after about a week of being home, my pain became manageable. And now we're a little over a month postpartum, and I feel great. So yeah, I feel like this story time was all over the place, but I hope that this gave you some insight on my labor experience. I don't know, when I tell the story now, I guess it doesn't seem too tragic, but when I was going through it, it was very traumatizing, because every single thing that like I had in my head was the complete opposite. And I thought that I had prepared for labor. Like, I thought I had prepared for every scenario. And then I didn't. I was not prepared. I guess you're never really prepared for stuff like this. I have my beautiful baby girl now, and she's perfect, and it was worth it. All of it was worth it, and I want to have more kids. While I was in labor, I was like, I'm never having more kids, but like just yesterday, I was just thinking like, I could totally do that again for this, because being a mom is amazing. And yeah, it's pretty strict about who could see the baby. Like, I only let people see her that had been quarantined, like on lockdown. And it's still kind of my rule, because if anything happened to her, I'd be devastated. So that's what's going on with that. And yeah, we're just living our best life. Here is little Miss Danny Ray. She was 6 pounds, 6 ounces at birth. She was 18 inches long. She's very tiny. She does not look tiny on camera. She's very small. She's about a month old, or she's a little over a month old. She's 5 weeks. She's 5 weeks old. And yeah, this is her. She's very hungry right now, so we're about to feed her. But I wanted to show her to you guys and show off all her cuteness. So yeah. All right, say bye, Danny. Bye. Bye-bye.